5, and there's Joe Dubin. He joins us from 102.5 The Game in Nashville, who's at SEC Media Days. Joe, thank you very much for your time. I know you guys had Diego Pavia on earlier today. How much of a rock star is he in Nashville, Tennessee, or even there at the SEC Media Days?
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Yeah, I tell you what, Vanderbilt's come through this thing many years since I've attended this. They've never had a guy like Diego Pavia who's come in and everybody wants to talk to. I mean, there's been a few guys throughout the years, a Jay Cutler, a couple like that, but this guy, everybody wanted to talk to him. And I got to tell you, he's contagious. I mean, his attitude, his excitement, his love for this football team is something else. So it was great to see him come through Radio Row. And for once, Vanderbilt's got a player that everybody wanted to talk to. So it was good to catch up with him today.
What is their ceiling this year? I mean, it can't just be about Diego Pavia and the excitement he's brought, which he has, but they had to get some better players around him to take that next step.
Well, I think that's a great question. And then the schedule, we went over the schedule during the show today, and it's something else. I mean, they got to go on the road to Virginia Tech, to South Carolina, Alabama, and Texas. So right there, that's something else. Then they got to walk them home, LSU, in Missouri. They got to play Auburn. They got to go to Tennessee to finish off the season. So the schedule is stacked, but that's what you play for in the SEC. If they can go 7-5 with that schedule, maybe 8-4, Clark Lee's the coach of the year because they've done a heck of a job. So I think 7-5 is where this team stands right now. They've got to get lucky in a few games throughout the season, but if they could do that, they could have a real good shot of getting those 8 wins. But you got to remember, I mean, after all, they're back in the SEC, and as great as the season they had last year, they beat Alabama, they took Texas to the wire. They still went 6-6. They won the bowl game against Georgia Tech, and they went 7-6. It's just that with Vanderbilt, they beat Alabama, and they came so close to beating Texas. That doesn't happen in Nashville. So you had someone like Diego Pavia who refuses to lose, put this team on his back. They got a great shot in most of those games. It's just tough. I don't care who you are. Go on the road to South Carolina, to Texas, to Alabama, and to Tennessee. If you can win one of those, that's a miracle, but it's going to be tough.
Joe, I mean, like you said, it's going to be tough, but just how would you register this excitement level that seems to be surrounding them? When's the last time that you've maybe seen it like this, and just kind of what is it like around Nashville with the Commodores faithful?
Oh, that's a great question. We keep asking that question all the time. It had to be 2012. That was James Franklin's second year in Nashville. They came off a bowl win versus NC State in the Music City Bowl. A lot of bump going into 2013. That was the last time. But they didn't have that rock star. Somebody could rally around it. Diego Pavia is that guy. And although Derek Mason was the coach from 2014 to 2020, and they did go to 2 bowl games, they never had a winning season. They never had a winning season under Derek Mason because they lost both their bowl games and ended up 6-7. Now they've got this momentum. Diego was great in the Birmingham Bowl. He's back. He's healthy. He's got one of the best tight ends in the country. Got a pretty good defense as well that's coming back. So there's excitement. Plus, guys, they have I know it's Vanderbilt, but they got a brand new stadium. They remodeled their stadium. I know they lowered the capacity a little bit, but it's not. I mean, it is really, really nice. And you look at teams that move into a stadium for the first year and the bump they get off of those is quite impressive. So Vanderbilt's got a lot to play for this year. But their first game is Charleston Southern. And if you want to break away from the same old Vandy mentality, you got to beat Charleston Southern. In the past, Vandy loses to a Charleston Southern. Heck, a few years ago, I think it was Clark Lee's first game, they lost to East Tennessee State. They had a lot of momentum coming in off the offseason. Clark's first year, a lot of good recruits, but they lost to East Tennessee State. So if you want to put behind you that this is the same old Vanderbilt, you win that game, you need to go on the road and beat Virginia Tech, start out 2-0, then they could have a really good season.
I can't believe you brought up their bowl games because one of them was in Houston against Baylor. We covered that game, and I was like, for some reason earlier today, I kept wondering, when else have I covered a game in Houston? Of course, last year they played LSU, and before that they played Illinois. It was Vanderbilt, and they are, when Mason was there. The city, as far as Nashville, it's a pro sports town. Is Vanderbilt something, and I know they love SEC football in that town too. Does Vanderbilt register there, or is it mainly just last year?
Yeah, just last year. I mean, because you got to win games. I mean, they came off a 2023 season. They were 2-10, and Clark Lee came here last year. It's like, the whispers of, there's that guy on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Those aren't around anymore. So you're right, and that's the thing is, Vanderbilt would have a home game. I think when Texas came to town last year, that was 80% Texas fans in the stand. They played Alabama, same way. Tennessee, it might be 90% in the stand. So they don't have a true home field, if you want to say that, although they do play games at home. But visiting teams come in there and win. That's why last year was so great, beating Alabama. I mean, I'm telling you, when you see 80% full stands of Alabama fans just despondent and just destroyed because they lost to Vanderbilt, it was a beautiful, beautiful sight to do that. And they almost did it to Texas like 3 weeks later. It would have been incredible. So, yeah, they register when they win. Like anything else, it's primarily a Tennessee Titans town, Tennessee Vols town as well.
Mm-hmm.
They love it there. But when Vanderbilt can go out and do well, people like to hop on bandwagons. They'll do it all the time, no matter what it is. So Vanderbilt last year winning, a lot of people hopped on that bandwagon after the Alabama win. So you saw that right there. But down the stretch, Vandy was pretty pedestrian. LSU, Tennessee, and South Carolina pretty much figured Pavia out. So that's the challenge this year for Diego Pavia. Can he adapt to what they figured out? Well, we'll wait and see. They've got a great, tough schedule ahead. It's going to be fun to watch, see if he can do that.
Joe, by the way, for people who are wondering where SEC Media Days is, at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, which is one of the coolest museums you can ever go to in your entire life. It is awesome. It is amazing. But you mentioned Tennessee. They got thrown into panic mode right at the end of spring. What can fans expect from a Joey Aguilar run offense?
Well, here's the deal. We're just going to talk about the schedule because the unknown with Aguilar right now, a lot of people don't know. He was good at App State, wasn't great at anything. It's week 3. Week 3, Georgia comes to Knoxville. Their first game is here in Atlanta versus Syracuse. Then they go home to East Tennessee State. Georgia coming into Knoxville. I'm telling you what, if they can beat Georgia, they've got a very favorable schedule. They've got to go to Alabama in October. But if you beat Georgia, you're sitting there 3-0, and you've got this great bump. And fans are behind Josh Heupel because he didn't buy into this Nico nonsense. Pay me all this money. Like, we're not going to do that. We agreed to a price. And you don't want to do it, then go away. So a lot of Tennessee fans are hopeful under Heupel. Now, with that being said, you've got an unproven quarterback, so you might go 8-4, but you realize that no one player is bigger than the program. So we'll have to see. Their defense is solid. They got a really good defense. Offense, not so much. But I'm telling you guys, week 3 is when it's going to be important. They can knock off Georgia with an unproven quarterback. You might see a bump for the Tennessee Vols that'll get them into the college football playoffs.
Joe, I wanted to ask you again about Vanderbilt. Eli Stokes, what is the ceiling for him this year? Is the world kind of just his oyster, in your opinion?
Well, we asked him about Stowers earlier, Diego Pavia. He just lit up. I mean, he was just so excited. And this is the work this guy puts in is second to none. And he's great. I mean, he's ranked as the top-rated tight end in college football right now. He's made all the preseason All-American lists. He is great. But, again, it rolls around Pavia. Pavia likes him as his safety valve. He was talking about, he's his Kelsey to the Mahomes. I mean, that's who Stowers is for him. He's a guy that you can rely on. They're on the same page. And if Pavia has a good year, then this young man's going to have a good year. Pavia's got to stay healthy. He loves to scramble, loves to run around, and they're going to be waiting on him. I mean, you got some big linebackers in the SEC can take down Pavia, but when you got a safety valve like Stowers, it's great. And Vanderbilt hasn't had a tight end like him in a long, maybe ever. I don't mean, it's a guy that's getting the accolades now with the All-American list, so it's really good. I'm telling you guys, Vanderbilt's got some talent, but then you go look at that schedule, you're like, man, you can't they have to play perfect football. That includes Pavia and Stowers and all these other guys. If they don't have good, I mean, they can't make any mistakes. If they do, you're looking at maybe a 4-8 team. If they played their best, you might get an 8-4 out of the squad, but it all revolves around Pavia. It's funny, guys. I was over listening to Pavia's. The players got to do a little breakout session there, and the media just swarmed. Unlike any player I've ever seen at Vanderbilt, and very few in the SEC. I remember Tim Tebow came here and did that, and they swarmed. I'm not saying that Pavia's on Tebow's level, But I'm saying when they swarm the breakout session, so many media members there want to talk to Pavia. He's got an air of confidence. He won a podcast a few weeks ago, says that Vanderbilt's going to run the state of Tennessee and watch out Alabama. And, we asked one of his teammates today, and they're like, that's Diego, man. We're going to have to back him up now. So it's a schedule. They got a very confident and cocky quarterback. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Now, you seem like you're a pretty big